Hello everyone! For a while now, we've been talking about Earth. Land biomes, aquatic biomes, natural cycles, but now we get to move to... No, wait. I'm gonna have you guess. Now, this is the Earth. So let's zoom out and just tell me what you see. Nope, that's the universe. Too far. We talked about this back in week 1. So now let's zoom in a bit. And that's a carbon dioxide atom from the carbon and oxygen cycle back in week 5. Too close. Okay, can we go somewhere in the middle? Yep, and that's the Earth again. We just need to take a quick trip 93 million miles from here. Okay, there we go. Stop. I bet you'll never guess what this is. In case that was too hard, we're talking about the sun today. The sun is fascinating and super important. I could make a whole show just talking about the sun. But unfortunately, I only have this one video. It's so unfair! The sun is responsible for days, nights, temperatures, seasons, and basically all of life here on Earth. God made the sun special in so many different ways. How big it is, how old it is, what type of sun it is, how bright it is, how hot it is, how far it is from the Earth. God put the Earth in the exact position so that we wouldn't burn up, but we wouldn't freeze either. How thoughtful of him. Today, though, we're talking about the parts of the sun. Way back in volume 1, I'm talking ancient history here, guys, I took you on a tour of a slice of Earth pie. Similar to the Earth, the sun has different parts and layers with different properties. So, some parts of the sun are the core, radiative zone, convective zone, sunspots, photosphere, solar flare, and corona. Now, I'm gonna need a much bigger piece of pie because the sun is over 100 times bigger than the Earth. The problem is, I don't have a pie server that big. But I do have this chalk. At the center is the core, the hottest part of the sun. Just like on Earth, the core has a lot of energy that helps power the rest of the sun. Something happens called nuclear fusion, where atoms get smashed together to form new atoms, releasing a lot of energy. Outside the core is the radiative zone, where the energy made in the core turns to light. Then there's the convective zone. The light gets turned around and has to make its way through a lot of magnetic gas stuff called plasma. And so even though light is really fast, it'll take it a while to get through this layer. On the surface of the sun are these things called sunspots. It might look like the sun is burnt, but these are actually places that are a little cooler than the rest of the sun. Sunspots are places where the plasma and the magnetic fields of the sun get tangled up and push the heat away. These spots form on the photosphere, which is the outer surface of the sun. This is the place where all the heat and energy made in the core gets to shoot out into space. It can actually take light thousands of years to make its way through all the plasma and the radiative and convective zones, but once it reaches the photosphere, it can zoom to Earth in 8 minutes. One of the ways light can get from the sun to the Earth is from a solar flare. Sometimes sunspots get mixed together and tangled up and cause something like an explosion called a solar flare. These flares can shoot a lot of particles and gases out into space. Goodness, burnt sunspots and boiling solar flares. I told you we should have taken the sun pie out of the oven sooner. Solar flares are so powerful that they can mess up the radio here on Earth. Also, particles from the sun create beautiful light shows in the sky up north called aurora or polar lights. It's crazy to think that the sun, so far away, can do so much here on Earth. In between the sun and the Earth is the last piece of our pie, the corona. The corona is kind of like a mysterious ghost cloud surrounding the sun, and it's really hot, even hotter than the photosphere, but it's also really dim. One of the only times you can see it is when something else is in the way, like the moon during a solar eclipse. When the moon blocks all the direct sunlight, you can see the corona around the edges. Well, there you have it. The layers of our little sun pie here are the core, radiative zone, convective zone, sunspots, photosphere, solar flare, and corona. As you can see, this sun pie is much bigger and more complicated than our Earth pie from earlier. Which one do you think you would want on your plate? Next time, we'll get to zoom out even further and see what kind of things might be hanging around the sun. Guess what? It's not just the Earth. See you next time.